should have never given me a cowbell.
Everybody, welcome Nick Baverman.
What's up, everyone?
Thanks for being patient with us. We were having some technical difficulties, as usual, but
It is all good. We made it.
yes, we did.
And it's 8:01, I think, now, so we're good, right?
Yeah, totally. We were doing
My
good on
time,
time,
yeah.
then Facebook decided to do its thing. And
Yeah.
it just happens.
It's Facebook's fault. Everyone.
So, in typical Beats and Brews fashion, I think we need to cheers, and we've been sipping on a little bit of tequila, but
Yes, we have.
I'm gonna crack open my beer.
Yes. Cheers, brother.
So I am drinking Fretboard Brewing Pilsner. It's called Vlad.
I like Pilsner. That's kinda
Pilsner.
nice, yeah.
It sounds fancier.
Yeah.
I asked Nick, I'm like, hey man, so I'm gonna pick up some beer for the show. What do you want to drink?
And I said,
you're
I'm a
like,
high life guy,
Yeah, and which I appreciate. So I
but
try to find something a little bit fancier, but
yeah,
would also scratch that itch for you.
yeah. And I'm gonna definitely drink one of those. But as we discussed, I think tequila is probably the better option for me right this second. I have the
Yes.
worst bladder in rock and roll. That's what's really going on. We might as well just tell you what's up
And
instead of everybody being like, "What was that whole tequila thing about?" That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and drink 6 beers. We'd have to stop.
Yes.
And by the way, Brent left the tequila at my house last night. So thanks, Brent. What's up, bro?
Thanks, Brent.
It's delicious.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
So, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Can everybody hear us all right out there? I see Dave and Linda and Hillary
What's up,
and
Dave?
Mindy and
What's up,
Linda,
Linda?
Tom, my brother Betty. What's up, Betty?
What's up, Betty?
See Betty every Sunday. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions along the way, please.
If the questions are about my hair, I don't have any answers. So you can ask anyway.
What do you
but
use? What do you use?
I use like 6-in-1 windshield washer fluid, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, conditioner. Yeah, whatever I can find.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yes. Hey, Megan.
Hillary,
Hi,
I know
Betty.
you're always trying to get me on the better hair product stuff, but
So I was having some issues streaming this from the actual Facebook event. So if anyone out there is watching this, if for some reason it's not showing up in the event, feel free to copy and paste the link and put it in there. That would be appreciated.
yeah, Hillary, if you want to do that on my phone, by the way, you can.
Just make sure it reaches as many people as possible. I really appreciate everyone that was sharing stuff and trying to spread the word. And in
Yeah.
typical Facebook fashion, it was giving me some issues. So
Oh, of course.
I think it should be streaming from my personal page to my music page. So
You've got it all
hopefully-
figured
yeah,
out.
hopefully it's-
I'm like, don't look at
it's
me.
out
I
there.
can't help with anything technology-wise. Everybody that knows me will tell you, like, oh, yeah.
he's
bad
just
news.
a drummer.
Yeah, just a drummer. Barely that.
So, Nick,
Aaron.
tell the fine people out there in Facebook land, what's your story, man? Like, how'd you start playing music? Why do you play the drums? Why do you still play the drums? More importantly,
Yeah.
what inspires you? Just tell us.
Yeah, I started playing drums when I was about 13, and my uncle Brian, I have to give big credit to my uncle Brian Baverman, who gave me my first kit, and I started basically, seeing what. Are we good? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I talk too loud, so you can probably turn me down. But at the time when I was like 12, 13 years old, my Uncle Brian, his band with Danny Frazier had a major label deal. And so I didn't really know what that meant as a kid, but I knew that it was cool, like watching what he was doing. And, like I kind of just wanted to do that. Like I'm from a huge family, and there's not a lot of musicians in my family at all. So like seeing what my uncle was doing around that time, which would have been, I'm 37. I was probably, 12, 13 years old. It was early, mid-90s when all that stuff was happening. And it just was very cool to me to see what he was doing. And there was something about it that I didn't quite understand, but I knew I wanted to do it. And it was just like, it just looked fun, you know what I mean? And like, when we'd come to the family get-togethers and everybody was talking about their kind of normal stuff, but my uncle was talking about having, videos on CMT and being able to, do these tours and opening for Willie Nelson around the U.S. and doing all this cool stuff and doing radio station tours and all that. There was something about that just was very cool to me. So I kind of I was like, whatever that is, I want to do it. If it's drums, I'm glad it was drums because I don't think I could have figured out anything else.
Can you count to 4?
Yeah, we're just now getting there. But then, my older brother, I do trace it back to some early memories of when we were kids. I'm from a big family, like I was telling you, 7 brothers and sisters. And my older brother, Matt, had a membership to Columbia House, which is kind of before both of our times. If you remember what that is, it was like a CD distribution. You could basically buy this membership and order CDs online for a discounted rate or whatever. So you would buy 1 or 2 at regular price, and then they would send you 5 for a penny or some weird thing. But it was a big thing in the early or mid 90s. But I remember my older brother getting all these CDs all the time. I would open them before he got home, and I would be like, oh, Pearl Jam, I don't even know what that is, but let's check it out. And Metallica. So I still remember the first 2 records of his that he had or the first 2 CDs rather, were Metallica Ride the Lightning and Pearl Jam 10.
Oh man,
and I remember
awesome.
Yeah, and so I remember kind of I still can see the boom box, if you will, or whatever you call it, sitting there with those 2 CDs on it. And I would basically listen to those, and we would kind of pretend to be a band, me and my siblings when we were little kids. And I always had to be the drummer, no matter what else. I was I'm, no matter what you guys want to do, I'm the drummer. So I would grab my colored pencils and play along on the bunk bed bars to whatever songs we were playing. And I'd love to see video of what that actually sounded like, because at the time I thought I was crushing it. But yeah, that was it. I just kind of there was something about it early on that kind of, it's one of those things that sort of speaks to you before you even really understand why it is or what that is. And I remember being outside with my friends one day and coming inside and taking my mom's cookie tins. If you remember those cookies that you get in the blue tin that have the little papers that the cookies sit in. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what they're called. They're German Christmas cookies or whatever.
Those sound fancy.
They were delicious, but after we ate all the cookies, or I probably took them out and dumped them on the counter, but I basically turned that into my first snare drum. And I remember seeing Remo dot heads with the black dot in the middle. And I out of construction paper, cut that out and put it on the front. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just wanted to do what I was seeing on TV or whatever. And so I basically made my own little drum kit out of paint cans and cookie tins and set it up on the air hockey table. And that's literally how I started.
Wow.
I would turn on Q102 WEBN, and this is back in the day when you would try to play to a CD and the CD would skip because the floor would shake if you were playing drums. So it was a tough time to be a drummer. But that's what I did, man. And my older sister Sarah, she listened to a lot of country, a lot of disco, a lot of pop. And I think it's one of those things that as a kid, I didn't realize was having a big impression on me, but it was. It was one of those things I realized later that all that stuff, and my parents listening to just, the oldie station driving around as a kid, and my dad listening to old country, it all kind of just combines in there and becomes sort of an inspiration that you're not even aware of yet until you get older. Then you kind of look back and go, I think I was inspired by all kinds of different stuff. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because you play for a lot of different artists.
Yes.
A lot of different genres.
Yeah.
And as we were talking a little bit earlier, you don't really fit one mold.
I don't know if I fit any, honestly.
Which is great.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. But you're the same way, right? I mean, you and me both have played, or you and I was thinking about this on the way here, the grammar, is it you and I or you and me? Whatever it is, us drummers, we drummers. I know you've played a bunch of hip hop in your day, a bunch of country, a bunch of rock. And I'm kind of all of those things as well. So we have a lot in common. And yeah, I think primarily if I had to put myself in one little classification, I consider myself to be a hard rock drummer first and foremost. I think that's what I do best. That's what I enjoy doing the most. That's where I think I can be the most creative and the most honest as a drummer. But the older I get, I thought so. Yeah, the older I get though, the more that you kind of learn, how to fit in all those different styles and just, show up and try to do what's expected of you as part of whatever setting you're in.
Yeah. Well, also as a freelance drummer, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
And throw yourself throw yourself out there to the wolves.
Absolutely.
And
sometimes it works out better than others, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Cheers to all those that didn't work out so well. Love you guys. I think we're doing okay overall.
I think so. Yeah. So the pandemic, it kind of leveled the playing field quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so here we are, 2022, still wearing some masks. Tours are still getting canceled.
Yeah, what a mess.
We've all been affected by it. Every single person. But now that the dust has settled a little bit, what are you working on? What do you have brewing right now? Did you take the time, like during the pandemic, to record or write music or shift gears? Or
I think I'm always in between gears anyway. Like I'm kind of always trying to find like where I fit best and what I do best and all those things. It was definitely a good, like there was no excuse to not record. You know, you had 2 years and everybody was at home. It's like, I know you're not doing anything, bro. Like I know you're home. So there was a lot of time to record. And honestly, Hillary, you know, told me that she was getting a lot of gigs as a solo artist during the pandemic because, you know, I think for a lot of us bands, there was all those weird things for venues to try to like keep us 6 feet apart and, you know, only have limited occupancy and to have a band for a lot of those gigs was not very feasible. Yeah. So a lot of the places that might have hired you and I to play, you and I, hired us to play, didn't. They were hiring Hillary. They were hiring other people that were playing like solo gigs, which was great. Yeah. You know, I think a lot of solo artists were busy as they'd ever been during that time. For me, you know, I'm always in between. I'm always working on recording projects. There's always another record to make and another song to record. So I was doing a lot of that and, you know, really just spending a lot of time in the studio trying to just, like, I think probably for me and what's probably true for you and a lot of musicians as well, a lot of what we do is on our own. You know, like I spend a lot of time on my own in my studio working on what I do, trying to be a better drummer, period. Across the board, whether that's like trying to mimic something I saw in a YouTube video from some dude who can smoke me that's 12, you know, or, you know,
gotta love that.
That's like almost ruined my desire to play drums anymore at this point. But
would you agree that drumming has kind of become a sport at this point?
Oh man, it's crazy. Yeah. And I remember honestly, when I saw something about, speaking of like drumming being a sport, I saw some article about, drummers being like athletes, and this whole thing about like, you know, drummers who perform like a 90-minute rock show on stage are burning as many calories as like an NFL running back. And I really held to that. Like I was really like proud of that for a minute. I was like, I don't know how true that is, but I'm going to take it. I'm like, hey, I'm an athlete, bro. Yeah. I work hard up here.
Don't mess with me.
It really does depend on like the gig. I think there's some gigs that I do where my hair's down like this and I'm, you know, I've had a gig where my stick got caught in my hair one time. That was like the most rock and roll, but also weirdest thing that's ever happened to me.
That's the weirdest?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, we can talk about that's a whole other thing. Yeah. But I had one dude in the crowd see it and he was like, you know, and I'm like, I know you saw it. And I'm like still trying to get my stick out of my hair.
Yes.
But yeah, some of the gigs probably not so much an athlete. But yeah, I don't know. I think your original question was, what did I do during the pandemic? Which was
something like that.
I just spent a lot of time in the studio and made some records and you know, kind of played on anything that I could, you know, and just tried to sharpen my craft as best as I could in the absence of live shows and everything else.
That's great, man. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
What's up, Brian? What's up, Justin?
What's up, guys?
Good to see you guys. So speaking of recording, who are you recording with right now? Who are you playing with right now live?
So, honestly, as of like a couple years ago, I was kind of a one band dude. Like I would be in whatever band I was in, and then whatever that band was doing was what I did, whether that was busy or not busy. And then I kind of became part of this like circuit that you're in. Thanks to you mainly, because you keep referring me for gigs. I've even said to Aaron earlier, I was like, I've had to turn down gigs lately just because I owe them to Aaron. So I'll be like, yeah, I can't do it, but my buddy Aaron will be able to do it. Just because I'm like, he's referred me to so many things. So anybody that does know me out there, it's probably because of this guy. So I owe you a big thank you for that. But once again, I forgot your question. I'm all over the place. I was listening. I was on my way to something and I derailed.
Well,
which is going to
Since you
happen a
mentioned
lot. I'm
that,
so sorry.
I will say thank you because
Oh man.
as a professional musician, when you get offered a gig and you can't do it, you really have to refer somebody. That's like the most professional thing you can do. If you have to turn something down, at least give them a couple other drummers that
for
are
sure.
great and won't let them down. And whether that artist or band takes you up on it, whatever, your odds of being asked to play again with them are doubled.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you've always been like one of the first guys in my book. If I have to turn something down, I'm sorry, but I'm going to give him your number.
Well, thank you. And likewise. And I think that's great. That's such a cool thing to be able to do that with people and not have this sort of like, I got to try to get that gig before so-and-so gets it. Like, I don't mess with any of that. I'm just, there's too many qualified players in this town. There's so many great bands and so many great artists, and none of us can do all of it. So I'd rather have my homies out there doing it with me and be able to refer those dudes to it than to just be like, yep, sorry, I can't do it. Try to call somebody else. You know, I'm going to refer you every single time. And you and like, you know, a few other dudes who are like in our little circle seem to be like the guys to call a lot of time, which is very cool. I know there's a ton of great drummers in this town.
Yes.
And I want to get to know all of them, but there's a few guys that I refer to gigs all the time, and you're definitely at the top of that list.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
And it just came back to me what you asked me a minute ago. So so who I play with now. So I play with Brent James and the Vintage Youth, which is probably my longest standing project at this point.
Awesome band.
Yeah,
awesome
thank
band.
you. We've been together for about 8 or 9 years, which is one of those weird things because I usually say like, oh, we've been together for 3 or 4 years, and now I'm old, so I'm like, it's been 8 or 9 or 10 years. You know, like you kind of realize, like I always say like, oh yeah, we did a record a year ago, and I'm like 2016. So that's been a minute. But so I've been with that band for a minute. So we've been doing that stuff for a while, and I've played with Ricky from that band since I was 15. So we've been doing stuff together for 22 years.
Wow. You
which
guys
has
have
been
a
great.
duo.
Yeah,
right?
we have a duo. The New Materials is our like hard rock duo. We've got a record out and another record finished, which hopefully will be coming out soon. Bless you.
Wow.
We've got and Ricky and I also do Charcoal Twilly, which is like a country duo 2-piece thing, which is it's like country hip hop blues stuff that we do, and we've got a ton.
Sounds cool.
It's weird, like not much of that's out, but there's a lot of like there was a period of time a few years ago where we were getting together every week and writing and recording and sort of like getting together and writing a song that night and recording it that night on my very limited recording software at the time. And that can result in a lot of things, very, not great recordings, but also very authentic recordings that are very true to like what you were thinking today without a bunch of other people weighing in on it.
Overthinking it.
Yeah. And so Ricky and I have a really great relationship in that way. So yeah, Charcoal Twilly, the New Materials, Brent James and the Vintage Youth. I play now with Danny Frazier, which was the band that my uncle was in, Frazier River, when they were signed to MCA in '94.
Nice.
And let's see, Ethan and Joey, some buddies of mine who do some gigs at the Hard Rock Casino. I've been filling in with them quite a bit. You hooked me up with a fill-in gig for Derek Allen. I believe that was one that you sent my way.
Yep.
You've sent me a bunch of stuff that logistically hasn't quite worked out just because of we all have calendars. I know me and you have talked about that.
Yeah. I haven't
trying to
even
keep it all straight.
I haven't even played for Derek.
And you sent it to me,
But
and
I
I'm
sent
like,
it to
I'm,
you.
but I'm very grateful for all of that. I think, as of a few years ago, like I said, when I was playing in one band, the thought of playing for a bunch of different bands was equally scary and attractive to me. And it still is. Like I struggle with it a lot to show up and try to look like I know what I'm doing with people that I've never met, playing songs I've never played on stage in front of a crowd. That's a hard thing for me. I feel like you and a few other dudes that we know around town are just pros at it. Like I'll see like Adam, our buddy Adam, that'll like post stuff and he'll be like, hey, I'm free tomorrow night if anybody needs a drummer. And I'm like, I could never do that.
Yes.
I would be like, I'm not free. I just can't do it. Yeah. I need like a week at least.
I'm eventually gonna hit up Adam. I want him on the show, and
yeah, he's great.
Super talented dude.
Yeah.
I've interacted with him a few times at gigs. And,
yeah, really nice dude.
He's really interesting and always keep him busy. And I see him on the like Cincinnati Gig Finder.
Yeah.
Like, guys, hit me up.
Yeah.
I've got this date, and this date. And I see that. I'm like,
He will take gigs the day
I wanna
of.
do
I'm like,
that,
yeah.
but I don't know if I want to learn 40 songs in
Right.
20 hours.
Well, and I think we've talked about that a bit too. Like, I really struggle with that aspect of it alone, being able to condense that much information into my head in a very limited amount of time and try to show up and actually perform like I know what I'm doing instead of feeling like I'm like, what am I doing the whole time? You know, and I was talking the other night about how, like, we as drummers, when we're filling in, we kind of learn body language from people from behind. Like, you're basically learning the body language of the back of somebody's head and the back of somebody's guitar and trying to figure out all those things and trying to figure out what they're about to do next based on when the singer approaches the mic and that whole thing. It's challenging, man. It's you know, I try to make it look easy, but
you do.
It's not easy for me.
So we have our first question from my boy Brian Honecker.
What's up, Brian?
He said he's asking, "What's your best advice for a young drummer?" His son plays drums.
Oh wow, we might need a whole separate show for that. I have so much advice because, you know, I think for me, and I'm a drum teacher as you are as well, I think my main thing as a teacher is trying to make sure that any student that I have enjoys playing drums. I don't ever want to be the reason that somebody doesn't play drums, because I remember being 8, 10, 12 years old, and you remember the teachers that you had. And you remember the ones that were awesome, and you remember the people that were not awesome. And, like, I think that especially to a young drummer, like, having a good teacher is a great thing. So as far as, like, that's what I'm trying to do as a teacher, to try to be just a good influence on young drummers. But as far as, you know, what young drummers should do, I think my best advice would be try to be very versatile and try to be very patient. Try to learn as many styles as you can. And you don't have to be a master of every little style. Like, I play primarily rock, pop, country, hip hop, and I love to play like reggae, hard rock, blues, but I'm not a master of anything.
You mean everything?
Oh, no. Like, the things that I can't do, it's funny. Like, I always say, like, oh, I'm not the guy to call for this gig, but I don't get those calls anyway. So, like, I'm not the guy to call for like a jazz gig, but nobody that knows me is like, I think I got your guy. Nobody's saying that. So, like, I don't play jazz. I love it. I respect it. I just didn't grow up in that environment. I can't play like super extreme metal. I can't play, or don't currently play like
Joey Jordison stuff.
Yeah, and I love all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff I can't or don't play that I still really love. But I would tell drummers to be inspired, be open-minded, and be like try to figure out what your niche is. You know, like, for me, like I said, my niche is hard rock, but, you know, maybe a third of the gigs I do are hard rock, you know?
Yeah.
And I've tried to tell this to a lot of my students who are 16, 17, and they're learning Iron Maiden tunes and stuff like that, which is great. But I'll ask them sometimes, like, have you ever played like a blues groove, or have you ever, are you familiar with like what a reggae feel would sound like? Have you ever played along to any hip hop tunes? And as a young drummer, like, I'm still aware of how I felt at that age. Like, when I was 16, I wasn't hearing that from anyone. They could be like, Nick, you should learn this. And I'd be like, nah, I'm going to play Zeppelin. That was all I wanted. That was all I cared about. But then you kind of grow up and you realize you have to kind of go where you're needed and go where you sometimes take gigs that may not be exactly what you grew up playing all day long, but you're still getting paid to play drums and do what you do. So you kind of learn to be a little more open-minded and accept things that maybe weren't what you thought you'd be doing. Like, most of what I'm doing now isn't what I thought I'd be doing, honestly.
Yeah, same.
But honestly, yeah, I don't know. I'd say, just keep doing it too. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Like, for any young drummer, any young person that's doing anything, if you're passionate about what you do, I think that's the single most important thing about any career. You got to have passion. You got to have love for what you're doing. And don't worry so much about sounding like John Bonham, like I did when I was a kid, or Neil Peart, which I'm just now learning how to say his name correctly.
Yes, thank you for saying it correctly.
I've always said Pert up until like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I'm going to be on this show. I got to know how to say. I got to drop that reference at least once. But
you've made it now.
Yes, Peart. But I wanted to sound like that as a kid. I wanted to sound exactly like these dudes. And then you kind of grow up, and I'm at a point now where I'm very content with my own style, my own sound, being very aware of what I don't do well, but also being very aware of the certain things that I do very well and being proud of those things and you know, just nurturing that. Like, go with your strengths, but also just try to be well-rounded and just be patient. Give it all time. You could find your dream band, and that band might break up, but you're not done as a drummer.
Exactly.
You've got another 50 years ahead of you playing drums.
Long road ahead of you.
Yeah.
As far as what I would recommend, I teach private lessons. The students that I have, I always bring it back to having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not inspired, and if you're not having fun doing it, then what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
So I just play music that you want to play. When I was learning how to play drums, I was playing along to Zeppelin, Queen, Metallica, Beatles, and all that stuff, Leonard Skinner, and I would just play along to my CD player.
Sure.
And that's what kept me into it, and it always reverted back to the music.
Yeah.
Not about how fast I could play, not about my chops.
Sure.
Not even about like being on stage and meeting girls and stuff. It always came back to the music.
Yeah.
So Brian, that's what I would say is just make sure that he's listening to all the music.
Yeah.
And figuring out what he loves as a music lover.
Yeah. That's one of those topics that there's like, I had to kind of check myself on the way here. Like, don't go off on a 45-minute tangent about something, because I will do that.
That's why I'm here to rope you in.
Yeah, keep roping me in. Just, give me a sign. But as far as young drummers go, first of all, just do it. Play drums. It's a blast. It's everything for me. Like, it's my whole life. I mean, I love everything about playing drums. And I don't know what I would do if it wasn't for that. And I'm just now at a point where it's turning into more of a career for me. It's never been just a hobby. Like, in my mind, it's always been a career. But as far as like, how much money I've made or what prestige any of the artists I've played with, like, I don't know. I think you have to keep yourself focused and believe in yourself more than anything. And also, I think a really good thing to keep in mind is to have an honest ear about yourself. Don't beat yourself up for things that you can't play, but be aware of where you can improve. Don't be the dude that shows up like, I can play everything. I can't play everything. And I've realized the older I get, my heroes can't play everything either. As a kid, I thought they could. I thought, like, if you were on the radio, you're like, you knew how to do everything. And I've been on the radio and I'm not the best. So
you're also super humble too.
Well, it's true though, like so I think life humbles you though. I've had times when I've like had to go serve tables at 7 a.m. after signing an autograph, and then you're like, nobody cares what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So
I feel that. What's up, Bobby? Thanks for tuning in. Crystal and Andy, I miss you guys.
Oh, hey, Crystal and Andy, what's up, guys? I love them. They are so great.
People.
Oh, they're so great. I owe you guys shots, money, everything. I love you guys.
Our mortgage.
Yes.
Yes. I miss you guys.
They are great people.
It's been a couple of years, but I have fond memories.
Yes.
Hanging out with those two.
Absolutely.
To the wee hours, packing up.
Absolutely.
Andy helping me lift.
Yeah. Great people. They really are. They're awesome. I'm so glad they're tuning in. I love Crystal and Andy.
Yes, Barb, Michael Moeller, what's up?
What's up, Michael?
Michael has an album release show coming up at the Southgate House. I believe
September 33rd?
April 2nd. I think it was supposed to be April 9th, but now it's like April 2nd or something. Fact check me on that.
Congrats on it's a new record show. I think I saw something about that recently.
It's in my calendar.
Everybody's so busy. It's so cool, like, to just see all of our homies constantly dropping new material.
Yes. Roger Kors, he is an amazing bass player, and he has said something very, very kind. He said, I've played bass with both of you cats, and I appreciate your professionalism as a bass player. It's a pleasure to play with drummers that get the challenges of sub gigs.
Roger is a great dude.
He's awesome.
If that's the Roger that I know from one community, he's awesome.
Yep.
Great dude.
He's a monster.
Yeah,
and
great player. Super cool guy to work with.
He's had some major gigs.
Yeah.
And
what's that like? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. He's anytime I get to play with him with one of Damon's gigs, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Casey Allen.
What's up, Casey?
Matt Carey. Hey, Casey.
Matt, what's up, my brother? Matt was asking me earlier how he could watch this today.
Yes, well, Matt, I'm glad you found it.
Matt's one of my old school homies. Matt's one of those dudes that I have to honestly say is like one of the first people that I can say really cared about what I did and kept caring the whole time. He was my boss at Papa John's when I was 16, and we've been.
I love Papa John's.
Yeah, and we've been good buddies ever since, and he's come see me play with Weirdos, my brother's hip hop group, which is a great group, by the way. He's seen me play with the New Materials. He's seen me with the Vintage Youth, a bunch of different stuff, and he's always cued into what I'm doing. And you can't really, like, getting support like that from people, you know, that never goes away is like something that you can't really. What can you say about it other than thanks? You know what I mean? So that's my homie. What's up, Matt?
And Michael Moeller did confirm it was the 2nd.
April 2nd?
Yep, April 2nd. I think at some point it might have been the 9th, and that's what I like ingrained in my memory. I could be wrong, but April 2nd, for those of you that want to go out and support Michael Moeller. He's got some awesome tunes. I was honored to track drums on one of the tunes.
Nice.
I think my homie Casey Allen also tracked bass on that song as well.
Sweet. Michael's a great singer and a great writer. I think we did a gig with him one night at Southgate Revival. Is that where the
yes?
Southgate Revival, the new Southgate or whatever. It's been like 10 years by now.
The new Thompson House.
The new, yeah. But he's great. He's one of those guys that, like, you know, there's so much talent in this town, and you know how many great singers and artists and stuff that there are. But then every now and again, like, the gigs line up where you're there on the same night and you're not gigging somewhere else, and you can actually see some of these people that you know of, but you don't get to see very often. And I was just like, wow, like that dude. We were playing the small one of 3 stages at the Southgate House that night. I think I was playing a conga with Brent James and the Vintage Youth that night, and I'm pretty sure that was the night that Michael was there. And he's just a great singer, great writer. So what's up, Michael?
Yo,
much love, much respect. Keep doing it.
Kristen Carter, hi Kristen. We had a great drum lesson today with B. He's doing great. I teach her kid.
Sweet.
About once a week.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's been really awesome to see these kids just go from not knowing how to hold a drumstick to rocking out to Queen.
Yeah, that is absolutely. First of all, you've got a killer setup here for all of that stuff. So good for you for having everything you've got here. I was just like looking around. I'm still looking around. You know, like everything in here is awesome. But yeah, watching students get it, like seeing that light bulb go off, is absolutely the coolest thing about teaching.
And you teach at the School of Rock, right?
Yeah, I'm out at School of Rock in Mason, and I know some of our buddies are at other School of Rocks. Let's see. I think Eric. I don't know how to say his last name. Mablin.
Yeah,
what's up, Eric?
Right.
I don't know. He knows. You know. He knows who he is. He's out at the Northern Kentucky one. My buddy Kevin Patrick is a bass player, great bass player with Ethan and Joey and a bunch of other groups. He's a bass teacher out at the Northern Kentucky one. So yeah, I'm out in Mason a couple days a week, and yeah, it keeps me on my toes. That's for sure. Teaching people and making sure you show up every day, not just knowing what you're doing, but how you're going to communicate that to the next generation is. That can be very humbling, and it just definitely keeps you on your toes, you know.
For sure.
Trying to think of how to explain everything that we know how to do that we weren't necessarily taught out of a book, and having to kind of find a way to make that all make sense. But yeah, I've had a lot of students, but I'm just now getting to a point where I've been there maybe a couple months, and I'm just now getting to the point where I have the same students every week. And so I can actually sort of see the progression, you know, with each kid.
That's awesome.
And it's very cool. I mean, there's just some of the things that I've seen some of these kids do, like, you know, the last thing I want to do is take any credit for what they're doing, but it's very cool to make me feel like, to see, you know, what some of these kids are accomplishing after just what I've shown them is really very cool. And it makes you realize how dangerous people can be. Like, there's some kids that I've taught like 3 times, and I'm like, you're really good.
You can see the untapped potential.
Yeah, like you really can, and it's very, very cool. And I'll kind of start and ask kids, like, what are your favorite bands? What are your favorite drummers? Sometimes they don't have any answer at all. They're just like, I don't know. I just thought I would try this.
I just listened to what's in my mom's car.
Yeah. But to be able to say, like, is there any song that you like, and be able to show that to someone, and be able to teach them that, like, I had a girl who learned a Sam Smith tune. I'm Not the Only One, I think was the name of the tune. Fortunately, that's one of those rock grooves that we probably both teach, just the boom, it was one of those grooves, and she led with that. She's like, that's one of my favorite songs, and I was like, I can show you how to play that song today.
That's awesome.
And she'd never played drums before, and she left there like able to keep that groove, and I was like, this is cool, you know? And and I always like sort of reinforce that with these students. I'm like, look, I've been doing this for 22 years, 24 years actually, gigging for 22 years, and you learn that in 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like that should give you, and so I'm always giving kids that sort of like, remember how like that's a great thing that you were able to pick up what I just showed you that fast, and you've got the potential to learn. And so I'll sort of train them to kind of like, now when you're in the car on the way home, like listen to what you're hearing and try to pick out where that snare beat is and that kind of stuff. And then they come in like, oh, I want to learn this song, and it's very cool. So.
With it, so I do have to give some shout outs here. By the way, that Michael Moeller residency, I think that was the night that I went there that night.
Oh yeah, that was that's like the night me and you maybe first got to chatting.
I was going to support Michael, and Brent James and you introduced me to Billy Brown that night, and I've been on the road like starting that weekend, I think, with Billy. Yeah,
which is very cool.
So it's just, I owe a lot to that night, really, because I played so many shows with Billy, and I've traveled all across the U.S. with him.
Yeah, I've seen you guys have been out in Vegas. You guys have been all over the place.
Yeah, and so thank you guys for introducing me to him. And,
well, what a cool thing to see that happen. I mean, like to know that you can sort of help people connect the dots and be like, this is a dude that needs a drummer. This is a great drummer. Here's your dude.
Yep.
You know what I mean? To be able to do that is very, very cool. And I'm kind of aware that like that's how a lot of great things happen for people. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the people that are in positions that you and I might like to be in were probably referred by somebody that was like, hey, you should check this dude out. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to always do that. You know what I mean? And there might have been a part of me, like to be perfectly honest and real, like when I was a younger drummer, I might have been a little less that way. I might have been more like, no, I need to try to get those gigs over anybody else. Then you kind of grow up and you realize like, you really want to be friends with the people in your scene. You want to be friends with the people in your town, and you want to have people looking out for you and trying to lift you up, other than like having enemies out there that are going to try to like, you know, wreck your career and try to take gigs from you or soil your name. Yeah. So I just, it's all respect to me. Like that's what I try to just live that way. And, you know, I'm very thankful to you for all of the gigs that you have thrown my way.
Likewise.
We've played with a lot of the same people, even if not for very long. I did play a gig with Billy Brown in Chicago one night. I've done some work with 90 Proof. I've played with the Upset Victory for a very short time. For a very, very short time. That was like just I didn't do any gigs with them. We just jammed a few times. But it's kind of cool, like, you know, that's country and hard rock and stuff, and that's you and me both kind of walking the same path at different times, which is an interesting thing.
Exactly, man. I miss playing with the Upset Victory. And,
super talented dudes.
I'm hoping one day we'll have like a reunion show
for sure.
or something.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It'll eventually happen.
Yeah, I think it will. All that stuff, like it just takes a few years sometimes for people to go, we should do that again.
Yeah, I mean, when people move to different states and stuff, it's hard. But I'm like, at what point? Like, how many years has to pass before like we can just have
cool
like
for us to do it? Yeah,
have like a reunion show. And like just have fun with it.
Do it. Yeah, you guys are. I mean, that's a great band.
What's up, Sarah Gorak? Thank you for tuning in.
What's up, Sarah? 2 times.
She's 2 for 2 on these shows. So,
nice.
She's very talented as well. I've played with her and Roger and Damon.
Yeah. Yeah, you hooked me up with that gig. I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know if there's any gigs that I got on my own anymore.
No, I didn't hook you up with Brent James, Casey Allen, Nick. Are you still doing the New Materials project? Not sure if you covered this yet or not. Yes, we did, Casey.
Yeah, we definitely are still doing that. We've got a record out, and we've got another one finished that's not out yet. But yeah, that's just Ricky and I, and that's really like it just feels it's very honest stuff. Like we kind of create together, and we've just been playing together for so long that there's not really like a substitute for that like chemistry that you get with playing, you know, with people. Oh, please keep cracking them, you know, and so Ricky, I just, you know, and all these dudes that I play with, I'm very thankful and just very grateful to be around people that want to have me around, you know what I mean? Or maybe you were just booked. So, you know, like Ricky would have probably started the New Materials with Aaron.
I don't think
so. But yeah, I love playing in that band. It's a lot of fun. We did a gig at Motor a few months ago, and we haven't been gigging a whole lot lately, but hopefully I think that's a band that will always exist, and hopefully it'll just be a thing that we continually revisit over the years and whenever the time allows.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. What else? Chris Harding's in the house. What's up, Chris? Chris is one of my favorite dudes. Super talented, awesome audio engineer, all around
Chris,
badass, great hang.
Where's he? Where did he work? Or where was his sound engineer and stuff? Is he?
So he is basically Noah Smith's front of house engineer.
Okay. I'm wondering if I know him from other things.
Does mixes and masters.
Nice.
A lot of Noah's stuff and everyone else's stuff. He just mixed. Or no, he just mastered Brandon Gray's new single.
Nice.
What's up, Brandon?
What's up, dude?
Yeah, Chris does it all.
That's awesome. I strive to be that dude, but I don't know. We're working on it. We're getting there.
Yes. John Hopkins, what's up, man? Which Nick is next? That's funny.
Oh, didn't your your last dude was Nick? Is it Heffron?
Yes.
Yeah,
my homie.
Yeah, I was
Nick.
watching that one. That was a great one. What's up, Nick?
The next one, I'm gonna start promoting in a couple weeks, but David Nestor is gonna.
Oh, is he rad? Yeah, Dave's
yeah.
man. What's up, Dave? Dave is out there absolutely crushing the game right now.
He is. He's
That's so cool. I was hoping
for Greta Van Fleet
yeah,
right now.
I don't think it gets bigger than that.
It doesn't. So yeah, he's doing it all.
When he's not doing that, he's with Korn or any other huge band you've ever heard of.
Yes.
And he's a great drummer. He's not just one of those dudes that's out there teching. I could talk to that dude for days, just like talking to you, because I have so many questions to ask him.
I'm excited to hang out with him. Like, hey man, like, how do you really tune the toms?
Yeah, right.
Like, how often do you have to change Ray's drum heads?
Yeah, exactly.
And just little nerdy things like that.
Oh, I could ask him questions like that for days.
Yeah. I'm excited for that one.
Well, he's coming to the right spot. You'll be able to just, know.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'll definitely be watching that one. Is that that's on a Wednesday night about a month
Wednesday
from now?
night in a 2 or 3 weeks
Sweet.
or something. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head. So before this, you were telling me that you recorded a couple albums for Hillary Hahn?
Yes, absolutely. She's got a brand new one out. And it's called Glory, and we tracked that in my home studio. Ricky Veneman's all over that record as well. He did all the bass and a lot of the guitar on that record as well.
Nice.
As well as, all the producing things that we are constantly bouncing off each other and just helped bring those songs out to what they are. And, I was the one trying to do my very best to sort of engineer and mix it. So I think my main concern was to not wreck the good songs with like my limited knowledge of what to do. But I love recording in my home studio, and Hillary was kind enough to let me do that and to sort of trust me with a lot of the vision for some of those tunes, and not entirely. I mean, they're completely her songs, but to sort of, weigh in on things and be able to kind of say like maybe this could happen here and whatnot. And Ricky is just a great person to have in the room when you're doing that. So yeah, the three of us made that record. Brent James and Chuck Smith were on her prior record.
Wow. Some heavy hitters.
Yeah, who also crushed it on that record. And
that is awesome.
This was largely recorded during the pandemic, so a lot of it was kind of just the cheapest, easiest, most convenient way we could do things.
And is that on Spotify?
Yeah, it should be everywhere, right?
Okay.
Right,
Spotify,
baby darling?
Apple Music.
Yeah, it should be everywhere. Hi, Hillary. Hillary told me I should announce myself today as two-time recording artist Nick Baverman, because I've been on like 2 records ever. But yeah, so she's got that new one out, and she's one of those people that's got 5 other records ready today. You know what I mean? Like,
that's great.
And it's great to work with people like that who are constantly writing, constantly being inspired and coming up with new stuff. And
us drummers need people like that in our
we
lives.
do. I don't exist without you, so thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, she's got just a really, really unique sound and a great style, and I've been very blessed to do those records and perform with her live as well.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Joe Hodge, what's up, homie? Good to see you tuning in again. Clutch, I miss you, man.
What's up, Clutch?
Oh,
What's up, brother?
I haven't seen Clutch in a little bit.
What a great dude, man.
Yeah, he's the best. I always looked forward to seeing Clutch.
Absolutely.
Show up at the gigs.
Clutch makes me feel a lot cooler than I am.
Wholesome.
Yeah,
wholesome
he's just
dude.
a great dude. Yeah.
Yeah, every gig's a lot better when Clutch is there.
Absolutely.
You know that no one's gonna mess with you. That
yeah,
night.
that's
like,
the other thing. I'm
hanging out
like,
with
man,
Clutch,
we're
good.
Yeah, Clutch is the greatest. He got some great video of our band one night at Bogart's, and I think he said something like somebody tried to tell him he couldn't come backstage.
No.
He got backstage. Clutch is the man. What's up, dude?
Yeah.
I love that dude.
Miss you, man. I hope you're doing well.
Absolutely. Oh man.
So I do this. I'm trying to do this thing. These random rapid fire questions. They're random. Some repeat. I'm still trying to find my groove with it.
Yeah, go for it.
Some are just really stupid. So I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah, please do.
The first thing that comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
If you could play drums for any band in the world, who would it be?
Oh, that's so tough. Man. I don't know, dude. Probably like... Or am I out of time? Oh, I'm sorry. Probably like Stone Temple Pilots. I just like, a band like that, I don't know. That's, yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry. This isn't very good rapid fire. Go ahead. I'll do better. Stone Temple Pilots. All right.
STP.
Yeah.
What's up, Nick Miller? Who's your favorite local Cincinnati band?
Wow, man. I would say, I guess they would count as this, probably Foxy Shazam. What a great band.
Man,
If you've ever seen that dude,
they
that
just
band,
crushed
my goodness.
At the Icon.
I didn't get to see that, but I had a buddy that's a bartender there and tried to get me to be a bartender there. I would have not been doing my job that night. I would have been like, hold on, guys, your drinks are coming right out.
Yes.
But yeah, what a great band. My goodness. And there's so many other good ones. Like we did a gig that same night, I think, with, well, I know I'm going rapid fire. 5, 4, 3, 2. The singer, I had to mention this, and I don't know his name, but the singer for a band called Lift the Medium, if you're familiar with that band, that dude blew my mind when I saw them perform. I think it was just him doing an acoustic thing one night, and I was like, that dude is out of control. There's a lot of great stuff around here. Go ahead, please.
Okay, Foxy, Lift the Medium. The first time I saw Foxy was at...
I was there. I'm just kidding.
Yes,
I
you
was
probably
there.
were.
Yeah.
It's that venue. It has the pole in the middle downtown.
We've probably both played there.
Yeah, it's on the corner of some place.
It's not like RBC or it used to be maybe Jefferson Hall. Did it used to be Jefferson Hall or is it something else? Downtown.
Anyways, small venue.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. He was like doing backflips and stuff.
Yeah, I saw him at Northside Yacht Club one night, like on a last minute thing that I got hooked up with by my buddy Jason.
The Poison Room.
Oh yeah, I played there a
The
million
Poison Room
times.
had the bar, right?
Well, the Poison Room used to be the Viper Room, used to be the Spy Club, now it's something else. It's like Mainstay now, I think.
Yes.
I can't keep it straight.
Chuck, thank you.
Every time I drive by, I'm like, I don't.
And Michael Urban Artifact does have a pole in the middle too. So runner up for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm doing so bad on this.
What's
okay,
your
go
favorite
ahead.
drink?
Oh man, I can't give you one word answer.
Can you just get some tequila right now and pour us some?
Do we
please?
need a little more? Can you grab some tequila for us? Can you hop under the? Yeah. My favorite drink. I think if I'm just drinking, like if I'm going to be on stage, I'm like a Tito's and soda, just a vodka soda kind of guy.
Okay.
But I love like Miller High Life. I love Jaeger bombs. I know that's like trashy and you're supposed to grow out of that, but I'm just growing.
Playing with 90 proof.
I love playing with 90 proof because like shots will just show up out of nowhere, and you're like, I guess we're doing more shots.
Thank
but
you, dear.
something about those shots, they sort of, young drummers don't listen to this. No alcohol makes you a better drummer. But Jaeger bombs made me a better drummer. It makes me feel like nobody can mess with what I'm doing.
I remember playing those 90
fun.
proof gigs, and there'd be like 12
They're just lined
Jaeger
up.
bombs just lined up.
Yeah, you just
ready to
take
go.
whatever one you want at any time. And yeah, Jaeger bombs are nice. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Stone Temple Pilots or Alice in Chains?
Well, I think we've covered this one.
Yeah.
I love Alice in Chains. Don't get me wrong, and I've seen them live. I've seen STP live a million times. I think I probably know STP's stuff a little better. So I would, I just love that band. But I love them both.
Rolling Stones or Beatles?
Oh, see, that's not quick answer. I'll say the Stones. But that's a long answer. I can't say anything in less than 3 paragraphs.
Acrolite or Supraphonic?
I'm going to be alone on this one. I'm going to say Acrolite. And I don't even know exactly why. I just love them. I have 5 of them. I have one
so
Supra, and it's a
dry?
great drum. Yeah, yeah, they're very dry. I just love them. They for me they work on just about anything, and I play them a lot. So yeah,
Okay.
I would say Acro.
I'm sorry. Now I'm going to go off.
Please take us way off because I'm like
4.5 inches, 5 inches deep, 6.5 inches deep.
for
snare
for
drums?
normally, like, I think the standard Acrolite is 14 by 5, maybe 5.5, but I think it's by 5. I used to be a like deeper snare dude. I still love all that stuff. Like I'm kind of one of those guys. Like I primarily play a 4-piece kit, simple kit, but I love piccolos like I've got here that is yours. It's a great drum. I love 6.5 by 14 drums. I love huge, massive kits, big cymbals, small cymbals. I love it all. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Combos or Pringles?
Doritos.
Okay. What
Jesus.
about the 3Ds?
Maybe, yeah. Those,
You
those
remember
are
those?
hard to find item. They re-released those. Here's a little info for you, since we're getting off topic. I was a shipped shopper. I do like grocery delivery stuff when the drumming world isn't working out. So I've delivered a lot of groceries, and people request those 3D Doritos like crazy. They started making them again, but you can't find them anywhere. So,
Damn.
sorry, ship shoppers.
Sorry.
We're doing our best out here for you.
What's your favorite local brewery?
I would say I think you've got fretboard stuff right here right now,
Yeah.
and that's just I love that place. I also love the food there. They've got these. What do we have there? Like pulled pork and cheese fry things that are like ridiculous. And that's one of those things
Their
when I
chicken
show
wings
up.
are awesome,
oh,
too.
I'm sure. And that strawberry beer, whatever they had, was really good. That Nikki had the other night. What's up, Nikki? Yeah, I would say probably that.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Speaking of that, if anyone is feeling generous out there, I do have a Venmo set up. It's nothing crazy. It's just to buy the next round. So the next guest that I have on Beats and Brews, you can just donate a couple bucks if you want to go towards our next 6-pack.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
$100 minimum.
Yeah, $100 minimum.
Buck up.
But yeah, wanted to give that option out there, and I plan on keeping this running for a long time. I love doing this. I love the camaraderie that Beats and Brews has brought me in my life.
Absolutely, man.
And just even with it being on a Wednesday and getting to hang out and say hi to people that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's just through social media, it's really great.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having me here. This is a super cool thing you've got going on. You're one of those drummers that's always doing the things that I wish I could do. Like, I'm like, wow, it'd be cool to host a show. I'm like, oh, Aaron's already doing that. Maybe I'll host a radio show. I'm like, no, somebody else is probably doing that too.
It brings on some stress, though. Yeah. Man, I was really stressed leading up to this.
The tequila's helping.
Yeah,
isn't it? It is helping. I feel way better. When I got here, I was like, I can't talk to you today. I just can't.
Our jam at the end is going to be amazing.
Yeah, we'll see.
To us. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Oh, man. We have 5 seconds. Save all the baby cats. I love baby cats. I love helping
that's
animals.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Is that super? Well, yeah, I guess so. There's a lot of cats.
If I could just go like, yeah, I think that'd be a superpower. I think.
For sure.
Okay, or
that's...
like, I don't know what else. I mean, probably not having to. Never mind. I won't even say. We'll skip what I was about to say. Yeah.
All right. If.
It was going to be in reference to my tiny bladder and not having to go, I was going to say, like, it wasn't anything bad, but I'm like, I'd love to be able to drink a beer with you right now and not have to, like, be like, can we pause? But the tequila is helping, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Biggie or Tupac?
Oh, man, why did you do this? These are terrible. They're
You're
great,
welcome.
but they're hard to... Jeez, I don't have an answer for that. That's one of those. I would, if I had, I mean, I don't even know if I can answer that.
Okay.
I will, if I'm going on
What's in your gut?
If I'm going on drum beats alone, like that, I would listen to, I remember when the Hypnotize video came out, with Biggie.
You're aging yourself.
I know. I was 29 at that point. No, I was like 14. But I was home, like just getting home from school, watching TRL, and I was like, man, this video is rad. They're on a boat, they're throwing money around, there's chicks everywhere. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's not really what I'm doing. But I think that like that beat is the nastiest beat. I love the beat to that tune, and also a bunch of Tupac stuff as well, like from the old, I think there was a tune on the old Friday soundtrack that was not an appropriately, I can't say any part of the title right now without cursing, but I got love for both of them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Biggie is the answer, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But Not by a ton.
I'm kidding. Pineapples on pizza, yes or no?
No. Pineapples in general, absolutely. I love pineapple. Pineapple juice is fantastic. Pineapples on pizza, we can't be friends.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm going to see if
We can
there's
be friends.
any other questions coming on. Hey, Cricket, good to see you, homie. What's up, John? John's super talented piano player, keyboard player at church that I play for every Sunday.
What are your thoughts on the pineapple on pizza, by the way? I haven't asked you a lot of these. I want to know your answer to these too.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
Yeah, I do.
I love all pizzas, and I will
too.
eat pizza with pineapple, but I am very bread and butter. Give me a cheese pizza or give me a pepperoni pizza.
Oh, my man.
That's it.
I knew this
If-
was meant to be.
If you can't make a good cheese or pepperoni pizza, then I don't want your pizza.
We are the same person. Like in Home Alone, when he gets that limo ride and he's like, a large cheese pizza. And I'm like, that's everything.
Your very own cheese
Your very
pizza.
own cheese pizza.
Yes. Oh, man. Cricket is also a good homie of mine. He is so talented. And I don't know if you've probably played some gigs that he's worked at, but Cricket is
I think I have.
top-notch sound engineer, mixer, masterer.
Yeah.
Just all-around awesome dude. And when I started to do production work in 2017 or 18, he kind of took me under his wing during the 3CDC shifts that we had, and was one of the very kind people that I worked with that would actually say, hey, man, you're not wrapping a cable properly. Like, try this.
Yeah.
Or this is what I like to do. This is what I have learned to do. Like,
In a
try
nice
this
way.
in a
Yeah,
very nice,
yeah.
professional way. And so I've learned a lot from Cricket. So
That's very cool.
thank you so much.
We
Jake.
need people like that out there because I'm still learning how to do a lot of things. So keep being nice. It helps.
Yes. What's up, Nick Trong? Clutch. How awesome is this? I'm missing Hulu. Tommy and Pamela. Oh, man, I want to watch that too. Love you too, Clutch. Ryan, tequila and citrus kombucha tonight. Good old Chuck Smith. I love any gig that I play with Chuck.
Chuck's
he's
a great
just
dude.
like an awesome bass player. Also a meat and potatoes sort of bass player
Yeah.
in my mind.
Yeah.
And I am a meat and potatoes drummer.
They
So-
blend meat and potatoes works well with meat and potatoes.
Yeah. So whenever I'm on a gig with him, it's like, great, this is going to go good.
Yeah, Chuck's a great dude. Chuck knows just anything that I don't know in the studio, Chuck does know. So that's very helpful because there's a lot I don't know. So Chuck's always like, actually, this is the button you push to not have to do that big, weird, roundabout way of muting that track, or
Yes,
whatever it is.
yes.
Like, Chuck knows everything. So what's up,
He's
Chuck?
been
I love
around
you,
the
brother.
block.
Yeah.
Okay, John. Random fact: today is the anniversary of Biggie Smalls' death. What? Okay, cool.
I knew that.
Well, not cool, but
just kidding.
thank you, John, for
That's
that random fact.
one of those weird anniversaries where you're like, oh, that's a shame. It's just a shame. What a great dude. What a great artist. We've
And-
lost a lot of good ones over the years, haven't we?
Do you ever think about if they didn't pass away so early?
Oh, I think about that stuff all the
Like
time.
what they
Yeah.
would be like? Would they be opening up for Justin Bieber right now? Would they be on a Coca-Cola commercial?
Yeah, who knows, man.
Collaborating with
It really is
Nicki
hard to.
Minaj.
Yeah, it's hard to predict what would have happened for a lot of different artists. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Porcaro, the drummer that played
yeah.
with Toto and every other band you've ever heard of.
I like to mess up his.
Oh,
Shuffle
the show.
a
Oh,
lot.
sure. Who doesn't? Nobody can really play it.
Do you
Like,
wanna
we-
try it right now on
Well,
the
we
spot?
all act
No,
like.
I'm
Well,
not
now I've
gonna
had a
do
bunch
that.
of tequila, so it's going to be a mess. I thought I had it figured out at one point, and I don't.
Didn't we all?
Man, my motor skills. I might be like thinking I'm ready, and
I'm
this
not
might
going to
just be
do that
soup.
to you. I can't do that.
Let's see real quick. Just to see where I'm at.
That was beautiful.
I think it's a little
was
different
good.
than that at the beginning. Like, I think that's what every drummer thinks it is, and then I saw some drummer post like that's not actually what he's doing at the beginning. And that dude was right. I'm like, man,
Is he doing, like, some-
I don't think
like
he's doing all the
doing
good.
that a
Yeah,
little
there's
bit?
that. Oh wait, what was I doing? Was I doing Full in the Rain? Who knows? Yeah, so it's that boom, 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 or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know that. I'm just guessing. I'm asking you.
Can I try to play my
Please,
version of it?
please.
Because it's going to be different, and it's also
Please do it and show me what I am missing.
no. I struggle with this.
It's an allowable struggle though. Every drummer is like, this is one of those things you're kind of supposed to struggle with. I think you're right.
But I'm doing like some extra stuff on the hi-hat.
Yeah,
that's
whatever you're doing is
help but
beautiful.
not do that.
Yeah. I think that I watched a video. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was Jeff Porcaro in the studio in like the mid '80s, like talking about that groove, and he was talking about how he took pieces of like the Bernard Purdie shuffle and like the Bo Diddley figure and the John Bonham Fool in the Rain groove, and sort of created his own thing. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things that like every drummer, we just do our best.
Yes.
You know, and like people who aren't drummers are like, oh yeah, that's Rosanna. And other drummers are like, that's not Rosanna.
That's why I wanted to play it, because everyone has their own interpretation.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, but it's also beautiful at the same time. And like I have this weird
like
thing
thinking
where I
about
add
it.
some extra
Yeah,
stuff on the
yeah.
hi-hat. You didn't do it.
Well, so now I'm second guessing everything I believe in.
No,
what you did was really nice. And by the way, are those 16s?
Yeah.
You're a level above where I'm at. Everything I have is like the stock right off the shelf. I'll take those. You've got like I'm an artist. I'll take 16s, and I'm like, I know a guy that plays 16s. That's as close as I can get. So let me see, because I think at the beginning, I don't know if he's doing all the ghosting stuff on the snare, which I thought he was doing. I think it's a groove that evolves as the song goes a little bit. I think at the beginning it might be, yeah. And every time you think you have his accents figured out, he changes them on you. Like, which I've listened to a bunch of his drum parts, and you're like, oh, this is what we're doing. And then he's like, no, we're not. That was like what we did in the last phrase. And you're like, oh, never mind.
Can I be honest with you?
Please.
So I have a couple gigs coming up with a corporate wedding band called Blue Water Kings.
Yeah. Which is great. I've heard all about them. I've wanted to be in like wedding bands, and we've modeled what we think we want to do after that band, which is what I'm always doing for your stuff. I'm like,
well, it's not my stuff, but I have a couple gigs coming up. I'm super excited to start working with that crew.
Sure.
With those awesome musicians.
Is Matt Lewis in that?
Yes.
Matt's great. What's up, Matt? Matt's great.
Matt's a beast. Yeah. And I've never had a gig where I've had to play Rosanna before, but that might be the first gig. And it's one thing to do the Purdie shuffle for a minute.
Yeah.
But can you play it for 4 minutes?
Well,
and then do all the pushes and, you know?
If we're being honest, I don't think I even know the Purdie shuffle, like the basics of it. I don't, and the Bo Diddley thing, like, I don't know if I know that either. I think my understanding of the Rosanna shuffle is very much based on my knowledge of Fool in the Rain from John Bonham and Zeppelin, which I think I can play, but I don't know that. Now I'm like,
how about show me your version? I'll show you mine.
Why don't you go first this time?
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like I don't want to be the one setting any kind of standard, because I don't know what I'm doing out here.
I'm going to take this.
Bonham and Porcaro are looking down and they're like, nah.
They're rolling over.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this big fat snare drum off so I can get a little bit of life.
Get a little ring? All right, I'll do the same. But these big...
Something like that.
It's so weird listening to other accomplished musicians do what you think you knew how to do, because then you start second guessing everything. So, man, I don't even know. And
that's my best guess.
So let's see. My version of it, which, let me just say, when I was a kid, I was trying to sound exactly like John Bonham. And the older I get, the more I realize how little I studied that dude. I did reports on John Bonham in school. I knew all their birthdays, like Zeppelin. I was just all about it.
Yes.
But as far as like that groove, that groove kind of eluded me for years. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then it sort of just clicked, but I don't think it ever clicked the right way. I think it clicked. It was one of those things
it's
that I was like,
you broke your arm and someone clicked it back, and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't need to go to the hospital.
Right, yeah.
We're good.
So I think what my version of that groove has turned into is something like this. So I don't even know what's happening.
That was great. That was awesome.
But if you ask me to teach somebody that, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's it's that initial, which is a tricky. But that's my take on it. But
that was wonderful.
Thank you, but I don't know what that is in relation to what was happening on the record. That's my own little, whatever version of it. But yeah, I don't know if drummers one day are going to be referencing the Nick Baverman knockoff version of Jeff Porcaro doing John Bonham. I doubt it, but I'm trying. I don't know. I'm trying to make my mark through bad impressions of other drummers.
What's up, Zach? Philip? Brad Hopper, fellow.
What's up, Brad?
Awesome drummer.
Yeah.
Good to see you, homie. Jake saying some kind things.
This is fun though, playing little grooves and figuring out what we've both interpreted as like the way it's played. And
yes,
I don't know. Fortunately, I've not had to play Fool in the Rain live or Rosanna live.
I've only actually it was like my birthday, and I was like blaring Fool in the Rain. I'm a big Led Zeppelin fan as well. Oh
yeah, sure.
And I was just like, I'm just gonna try to dig into this a little bit. And that I'm talking about like February. Last month, I was just trying to dig into it.
Good for you, man. There's so many grooves that I'm still like. There's just so many. It's really endless though. Like the more you open yourself up to trying to learn certain grooves, the more you're aware of how many there are to learn and how many approaches there are to doing it. I don't know if you've heard of. I think his name's Brian Tichy. Great drummer. He's on like Drumeo a lot and stuff. Okay. And he's got like some videos of how to play exactly like Bonham.
Oh yeah, long hair.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He'll play like he's what I'm trying to look like. It's like that guy. But
guys use the same product.
Yeah. But he's like one of those dudes that can get the kit sounding exactly like John Bonham. Like he's got the Vista lights. I've got Vista lights. I can't get him to sound like that. Like I've read about how he tuned his drums and how to do it all the certain way, and I can't get that sound out of drums. So I don't know.
Are you a Remo guy?
Overall, I would say yes, but I'm one of those guys that kind of like I'm aware that there's so much great stuff being made from so many companies that like
every company.
Yeah, like I think as a young guy you're like this is the only company that's any good, and then you grow up and you're like I don't know, Yamaha's making some great drums and
great stuff.
SJC of course is making great drums. Like I'm a Ludwig dude overall, but like there's DW. I mean, come on, how can you argue with a lot of the stuff that's coming out? And as far as heads go, I think Remo makes my favorite tom heads. Like I love the coated Emperors. I love the clear Emperors. For snare heads, I really love Evans Genera Dry is a great snare head. And for kicks, I just like, and I use a lot of Remo stuff. Dude? Those are great. Like they're great, but I'm a super kick dude. I love Aquarian super kick 2. I've got the super kick 10. I don't know if they did a super kick 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, but like.
They keep getting better.
Yeah, but those are great heads. Like that's the bass drum head to me that you put on when you don't have when you're not going to muffle it and you're not doing anything else to the drum. If you got to throw one head on and make it sound great, the single best head to drum combination to me is a super kick on a bass drum. It's just a great sounding head. But yeah, Remo makes fantastic stuff. They all do though. I think that's really
fair enough.
So much good stuff.
You were just mentioning John Bonham and trying to mimic the sound, and I know I've went down the YouTube rabbit holes.
Oh sure, yeah.
It's like he's got a 26-inch kick, and this is how he does it, and it's never ending.
Yeah,
really.
it is.
And then depending on the room that you're in, that can change as well.
Right.
But yeah, every drum manufacturer has high-end stuff.
Yeah.
Some of them have low-end stuff.
Yeah.
And they're all great. You can find something great with every drum manufacturer.
For sure.
I have some of my students say, hey, what kit should I buy?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Ludwig has this kit, and Pearl
Right.
has this, and SJC offers this.
Yeah, when it comes to entry-level stuff, there's a lot of options.
Yeah, and it's there's
but
no wrong way, really.
it can be numbing, though, like mind-numbing, because there's just so much stuff. And, I totally get, like drummers that have certain things that they really need to help their sound and stuff. And I think I have those things as well. But, like, I'm not going to not do the recording session if it doesn't have a certain snare head on it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little more flexible. The main things that are, like, I know you probably have a lot of things that are very signature to, like, your sound. I don't even know if I have a sound anymore. Like, I think, like, growing up, like, you can tell, and I was thinking about this on the way here, like, you can tell when it's John Bonham just by the sound of the drums and the groove, but the sound of the drums alone, you can kind of tell that. I don't know if I'm that dude. I don't know if anybody can listen to what I've done and can say, like, oh, that's Nick or whatever, based on the sound of a certain drum or whatever.
You're serving the artist that you're playing for, which is what I typically do.
Yeah.
Where sometimes you're not always, I don't know, it can go both ways, but John Bonham was in one band.
Right. So you can have that sound and
he
do
had that
thing.
sound, but he wasn't a freelance drummer playing for 20 different cats at the same time.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. And like showing up and wanting to have that same recognizable tone on everything. First of all, especially nowadays, there's so many things that happen to a record after you do whatever you do on it, after you play on it, the way it's mixed and mastered and all the plugins and things that people are adding to it. My main goal is feeling comfortable when I'm playing it, when I'm tracking it, and when I'm performing live. If the gear I'm using feels right to me in that moment, that's my main concern. I can't help what other people are going to do to my recordings after I track drums for them. So sometimes I'll think like, oh, I need an acrolite on this tune. And then when I hear the final version of it back, I'm like, did I use an acrolite on that tune? I can't even tell anymore. You know what I mean? And like, so sometimes for me, it's all about like just getting into the mode of like when you're tracking, when you're performing, feeling very comfortable with what you're using in that moment. And then from then on, who knows what's going to happen, to what you do.
Looking through here, what's up, Drew? What's up, Gary? What's up, Brenda?
What's up, everyone?
I'm just kind of catching up with some other people that have signed on.
Am I talking way too much?
Brent James has signed on. What's up, Brent? Good to see you in here.
What's up, Brent? I'm drinking your tequila right now. I owe you, bro.
Kevin Potts.
What's up, Kevin?
Drew.
My brother, Drew? What's up, Drew? I was with Drew earlier today. What's up, my brother?
If you guys have any last questions, filter them in. Hit like, subscribe, hit that smash button, whatever. We're gonna do some jamming. We're gonna come back to maybe a couple more questions, and then we're gonna sign off here and let you guys go on your merry way at some point. With that being said, we've been talking about these shuffles. Vern, good to see you come in. I'm sorry, but Vern's one of my favorite bass players to play with.
What's up, Vern?
We've shared stages in Las Vegas, mostly in Nashville on Broadway.
Nice. I've never done a Broadway gig ever.
They're fun. They're not the most glamorous, but playing 4 hours to a lot of tourists, and everyone is there to have fun.
Yeah.
And you're just on your toes the whole time because you're just catching up with requests.
Right.
And so it is just a blast, and playing Broadway has always been one of my bucket list things, and I'm very fortunate to have been able to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Enough
times that I've forgotten how many times, and Vern's one of those cats. He can play anything that you throw at him, and Vern, I hope you're doing well out there.
I love Nashville, What a great town.
Good old Biggins in the house as well.
Biggin?
Thank you, Biggin.
What's up, Biggin?
Miss you, brother.
Played the Big and Bash a time or two. Good times.
I've only played it once, and it was one of the most...
I did it once. I was just trying to be cool. I said a time or two. It was once. It was totally once.
Both between the two of us, we've
done it twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggin's like, I don't even know who you are, bro.
Biggin throws the best bashes.
Mike, I could never throw a party like that. Like 4 people would show up. Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Have a birthday.
Yeah.
I could have an anniversary. I could have a funeral,
Yeah.
and maybe 10 people will show up. But Biggin has a bash once a year, and like thousands of people.
Everybody
come
shows
out.
up. It's the thing to do. Yeah. Congrats on just being that cool and having that many friends.
Okay, Brent says, tell Nick his website needs to be www.nickoftime.com.
Oh, he's been saying that for a long time. All right, I'll buy that domain, bro.
I think he bought it, and he wants you to buy it.
He wants me to buy it from. I know this hustle.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with a lot of hustles, but the domain hustle is, I guess, a new one. I'm gonna have to get.
Yes.
How much you want for it, bro?
All right, Biggins invited us back again, so
Nice.
we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to purchase a little moped or.
Yeah, everybody there is party. Like, there's four-wheelers. People are everybody's just partying. It's just what a cool
wholesome.
environment.
It's very wholesome.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm sorry, it's not a moped, but it's not even a four-wheeler. I don't know what's the name of it?
Truck. I don't know.
I don't know, but they have the races and they have the four-wheelers and stuff.
All the cool stuff.
It's a great time.
I've wrecked a lot of four-wheelers, by the way. I've had some bad, there's some stories out there for me, coming over the hill on a four-wheeler and then, cutting a hard turn and the four-wheeler comes back, but Nick's not on it. I've sunk a couple in creeks before. I've flipped over the handlebars. I've done a lot of things on four-wheelers. It's been fun, but I probably owe some people some cash.
Oh, Big and Bash mini rig. Oh, it's a mini rig. Mini rig Lollapalooza, August 11th, 12th, and 13th.
He's got a 3-day situation going on out there.
Yeah, it's amazing, and
can't even fit all the action into one day. That's awesome.
I almost wiped out the first time I got on one of those things.
Oh, dude,
it's not good. Oh, speaking of that, one of my questions.
Yes, please.
One of my biggest fears,
because I've talked your face off tonight.
One of my biggest fears as a drummer is to break like an ankle, an arm, a leg, and you did that in 2020. Am I right?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was I broke my left elbow. It was a head neck radial fracture, I think is what they called it, which I didn't, or a head. I think that's what it was called. Either way, it was my elbow. And fortunately, it was my left elbow. As a right-handed drummer, it was a good thing that it was my left elbow.
Especially during a pandemic where you
it was
coming up.
It was a weird, if you got to pick a time to break a bone as a drummer, pick a pandemic. It's a great time. But so I had to go through a bunch of that was the first bone I'd ever broken. So when I called the doctor and was or when I went to the doctor and went in and they were like, why didn't you come in yesterday when this happened? And I was like, well, I've never broken anything before. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it if it was just a bumped elbow that hurt and I was coming in crying. And they're like, you're fine. Because I've had those happen where you're like, I'm sorry for coming in. I'll just pay my copay and leave.
Yeah.
I'm fine. But I was in the garage moving around. I've been doing some woodworking and stuff, and I was in there like an idiot on a kitchen chair, moving rakes and shovels around the garage and stuff, and I lost I'm going to blame the chair. The chair lost its balance, and therefore I hit the hard concrete garage floor. And Hillary was there. She was in the house, and I came in, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And I laid down on the couch and fell asleep, and woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't hardly get off the couch. It was one of those things where you realize how much all of your limbs are part of every little thing you do. I was just trying to stand up, and my left elbow was making it hard for me to even stand up. So anyway, I went to the doctor, and they did all the x-rays and all the fun things, and yep, you fractured your elbow, and basically told me no cast, we need to get you moving it immediately so that you don't lose that range of motion.
Wow.
So when you break an elbow, especially as a drummer, they get you into occupational therapy immediately and start doing stretches and all the different things. And so for the next 6 weeks I was doing nonstop, heating it, cooling it, doing all these different little weird things just to make sure.
Are you still doing that?
No, I did every bit of it that I had to, though, because I told the doctors, I'm like, look, this is my life. I have to be able to play drums. I don't want to be that dude in 20 years that's referencing an old injury. You hear people talk about their old high school football injuries and stuff. I didn't want to be that guy that had that going on. So I went through all the proper stuff and did all the proper things. And thank you to UC Health for helping me get back to where I'm at. And I don't recommend it. Don't break any bones. Sucks.
But right now, you didn't have to change anything to play the way that you played before.
No, I'm good. I think it's one of those things that it's in the back of my mind where I'm like nervous that it's gonna like rear its ugly head at some point. You know what I mean? Like if I'm playing really hard rock on stage and I'm really blasting stuff and hitting harder than I should, which sorry everybody I play with, I know I do that. But you know, I tend to hit a little hard, especially when I'm playing rock. I hit too hard.
It's that acrylite just cracking through the mix.
And I don't do it accurately in the sound check. They'll be like, go ahead and hit your snare, and I'm like, and then we're playing the show and I'm like, you know, and just breaking stuff,
like
and the sound
Chris
guys
Harding
back there like, no.
And Cricket hate you.
Yeah, they do. And I know you have a reason to, but sometimes that adrenaline hits you when you're on stage and you can't help yourself. But yeah, so I broke my elbow and that was in the very end of November of last year. And so we're a little over a year removed from that now, and everything feels good. So yeah, I feel great.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah. Scary though.
Cool, man. Well, so before we ride things out with jamming, where can people find you on social media?
So I'm on Facebook at Nick Baverman, Baverman, and same on Instagram, at Nick Baverman. There's probably other places out there you can find me, but I didn't authorize them. So that's where you can find me that I'm aware of.
Nice. And I'm sure there you promote some of the shows that you have coming up.
Yeah, for sure. I should probably do more of that. But yeah, Instagram is where I tend to be most often. And I'm always posting little weird drum ideas that I have. Just to kind of like, I think the main reason I post most of what I post on Instagram is to kind of get it off my mind so I can move on to the next whatever thing is on my mind. Like if a beat is haunting me and I got to get it out, let's put it on Instagram, and then I move on to the next one, and I don't care who likes it. I just had to get it out, and then I move on to something else. And
that's great.
It's interesting looking back on the stuff that you post over the years, and you're like, what was I thinking on that one? That was weird.
Yeah.
But I post all kinds of stuff like that.
You had to get it out at the time.
Yeah, you just had to get it out. So yeah, Instagram is where you can find all my weird drum videos and you know, most of the things that I'm doing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much again for hanging out.
Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it, and thanks everybody.
I just appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Coming here, and thank you everybody for tuning in. This is something I'm trying to do, at least right now at this stage of my life, about once a month. Sometimes it might be twice a month. Maybe eventually it'll be once a week. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Right now I've told myself once a month if I'm in town and not on the road or whatever. But thank you all who are commenting, liking, sharing.
And real quick, throw yourself a little, like, where can everybody see you? Because you're the man of the hour. I'm just a dude that like got directions here.
No,
and,
man.
You know, is trying not to break all your nice stuff.
You're the special guest. But AaronRoyTheDrummer.com. Aaron Roy the Drummer. I try to keep the same handles, otherwise I'll forget.
Because you have that business savvy that I don't have.
I don't know about that. I try to keep it simple for myself. But basically,
you're everywhere though. You do all kinds of stuff.
Instagram is my jam. Aaron Roy the Drummer.
Yeah.
Facebook, Aaron Roy the Drummer. I have a Twitter. I don't tweet. I don't do it anymore. I'm not on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not either. I feel like I should be, because people always tell you like you should be on TikTok. And
yeah,
I'm like, but what is it? I don't know what it is. I'm old now.
I'm a drummer. I don't know want to play shows.
Yeah.
I don't always want to just post a million videos.
Yeah.
Nor do I have time for it.
Yeah.
But Instagram, Facebook is my jam.
Yeah, and you play with everyone. Any gigs you can't do, I do. So you are the guy for
vice versa.
Yeah. Who all? Noah Smith, Billy Brown.
Damon Mitchell, Branches Church. I do production stuff for Memorial Hall.
Yeah.
Lexi Dunn, Echo Wave, shout out. Benjamin Howard.
Your acoustic duo?
Yeah. My acoustic duo. We play a lot of 90s stuff. I think you'd dig it.
Yeah, for sure. That's my whole life, is I grew up on all that. So
yeah, man. Just anything that I can get my hands on. I'm always doing recording stuff, even if I don't play with that artist live, like Brandon Gray, for example, my buddy out in Fort Collins, Colorado, Brian Cottrell, Bill out in Colorado.
Yeah. We're all just trying to be like you.
Yeah, we're all just...
You're hosting shows, you're playing with everyone. Everyone's like, do you know Aaron Roy? And I'm like, I do. I don't know if he knows me, but I know him.
Yeah. Well, hey, I know we're not in the best state to play all these shuffles.
Yeah, I'm getting a little
but
buzz going on here.
Let's play some like Fool in the Rain. Like I'll play that shuffle, and then you do some Tom stuff or whatever on top of that.
Sweet.
And then eventually come back into your version of the shuffle, and then I'll try to do some fills on top of that.
Sweet. I'll do my
then
very
after
best.
A couple minutes, depending on where it's at, we'll just cut it.
Now I'm nervous again. I was cool for a minute. Now I'm like, I hope I can not screw up his Fool in the Rain. Thank you, honestly,
right.
so much for having me, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thanks
you,
for
Mindy.
coming. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you,
time.
Hillary, for driving me here. Thank you, Brent, for the tequila that I stole.
Yeah, thanks, Brent.
Thank you, Vader, even though you don't know who I am, but thank you. I love you guys.
Also, yeah, thanks again for my beautiful wife, Mindy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Every episode that you guys see, she is doing all the video switching and stuff, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Done.
And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff where I'm teaching lessons and she's working remotely, running meetings, doing like big girl stuff with her job. And then
Cheers.
I've got like 20 minutes before this all starts, and she's handing me a plate of food and just being an all-around rock star.
How do we do
So
what we couldn't do?
I
what
couldn't
we
do this.
Yeah.
I'd be super drunk because I wouldn't have any food in my system if it weren't for Mindy.
Yeah. We
And
owe
that's
you
just-
one, Mindy.
yeah.
And Hillary. Thank you
Just
so
one.
much. Yeah.
Thank you, Hillary.
Hillary. I love it.
I can't say your name. I can't pronounce it. It's just getting worse throughout the night.
We're doing great. We're doing great. But thanks again, bro. I really appreciate you having me, man. And best of luck with all this. You're crushing it. It's awesome. And I love watching your career continue to grow. And you're doing all the things, man. So much love to you, bro.
Likewise. All right, let's just jam it out.
All right, you start it.